Hi. Hi, thank you so much for having us. Okay, we got that. Beautiful. So obviously just wanting to give you a little intro as to who I am. My name is Adriana, or better known as AJ, and I am the head of customer success at PropertyMe. Since joining PropertyMe in February, I've essentially built out the customer success team, and with that, what is the next sort of journey going to look like for our customers, and the engagement that we really want to focus on is engagement, further utilization, and to help you get the most out of your PropertyMe experience. I thought today would be a really good opportunity to bring one of my customer success managers with me to the session. Jameson, did you want to just unmute yourself and say hello?
Hello, everybody.
Awesome. Jameson looks after customers in our 201 to 500 portfolio sizes. He hails all the way from sunny Queensland. He has been with PropertyMe for, I think, is it nearly 2 years now, Jameson?
1 year.
1 year, sorry, jumped the gun.
But for 5.5 in total.
So 5.5 in total, 1 year with PropertyMe. He brings a wealth of knowledge to the platform. He's my favorite when it comes to granular detail. So Jameson, he is ready to go for anyone who needs some assistance and support with the software. And together we'll be taking you through some of the new features as mentioned, and also touching on some reminders and tasks training as well. My mouse is going to come to the party. So new training programs. Since we have started with PropertyMe's customer success team, we noticed that we were lacking some resources in the training space. So what we've done is we've essentially looked at 3 opportunities for our customers when it comes to training themselves. So we have Accelerate Me, which is our video-based training, self-paced, I guess. So you can essentially come and go as you please, pause the video, come back to it, and then at the end, test yourself through a quiz. This was sort of similar to the resources we've always had, and we've just renamed it Accelerate Me and added a few extra training segments in there as well. Train Me is our newest training platform and where we've had the most engagement. Since we've launched Train Me, we've had 800% increase in training attendance, which is a number I'm pretty proud of, but also the team and I really I don't want to use the word aggressively, but we have really been trying to get people across Train Me and what Train Me has to offer. We run 11 courses a week. They range from about 30 to 45 minutes and they cover topics under all different job titles. So we have a trust accounting section, a property management section, and also any admin and all of business. And I'll sort of cover that in a bit more detail. And then Partner Me is our partners option where that'll come at an extra cost. That'll be with one of our carefully chosen partners if you're looking for something a little bit more bespoke. It goes also beyond just the training. They can do more, actual hands-on work within the business. They can come and do more data entry, process work, etc. So there's a lot more available with partners and they will come at a cost, but we encourage you to look at that opportunity if you're looking to do some major restructuring as well. So Accelerate Me, just to show you where you can access Accelerate Me. So in the top right-hand corner of your page in PropertyMe, click on the question mark. And training basically all sits in this little training section in the middle. When you click on that, it'll take you through to those 3 new programs. Accelerate Me is the first one. When you click on Learn More, you will see these 3 tiles. And then from there, it has all the different courses that you can navigate through. Once you've clicked on the courses and completed it, as I mentioned, there's also a quiz available at the end. We encourage you to take the quiz just to see that you've understood what is being run in the session. If you still feel like you're not really getting it, then the next step would be to look at Train Me as an option. Each section has got information on the course. Basically, it's a video, as I said, and it'll tell you what it'll run through. And then the quiz is located just underneath that. And when you click on the link, it'll obviously take you through to the quiz. So that's pretty much our Accelerate Me and how it's sort of set up, just so you're aware. By the way, we don't sit there scrutinizing your results. So if you get some wrong, it's fine. It's just really there as a bit of a self-test method. The next one is Train Me. So this is our newest one, as I sort of mentioned already. So we've got courses that we're running on different topics. Admin and all of business is for everyone to sort of go through who are using PropertyMe on a day-to-day. The trust management is obviously your trust accounting. We actually will be in sort of November, December, launching an advanced trust accounting training session as well. So for those who've been using PropertyMe for quite some time, we know that you probably don't need to learn the basics. So the advanced program will be a really good one just to give you some real extra tips and tricks and understanding process a little bit more, or how to implement the software to suit your process more so. We don't want to give everyone the same cookie cutter approach, so everyone can customize how they'd like. But it's essentially a Zoom session, so you'll just need to pick the days and times available and then just register your details to attend as well. And then PartnerMe is our final option. So again, top right-hand corner, question mark. If you click on the training tab, that'll take you through to all of our partners. There's many partners to choose from. What I'd recommend you do, if you don't have a relationship with anyone in particular, it's always good to ring around and just see what each of them have to offer. And obviously, whatever you're looking for in particular, just ask them for some quotes and costs. There is the face-to-face option. Otherwise, they can also run things online. But I would highly encourage, if anything, I'm a bit biased, but I think the Train Me option has been the most successful for us in recent times, and it is free. Okay. The other thing I just wanted to touch on is we've also just, I guess, maybe a hands up might be the easiest way, and I can't really see. So hopefully, Jameson, you can see on your end, but is anyone using client access, or just unmute yourself and say, yes, we are using client access. So for your owners or your tenants, have you enabled that? Beautiful. Raise a hand is good. We have now included a consumer bot for our consumer support. So if your landlords, or sorry, your rental and rental providers are using their client access, now they can actually log in and see at the bottom left-hand corner that there is someone there available to answer their questions via a bot chat. So there is also someone that is on our team through support that is able to help them if there isn't an answer there. But this will actually help reduce the owners coming back to you and asking questions. If they search a keyword, you can see as an example, it'll bring them up some knowledge base articles. So we now have an owner knowledge base as well as the knowledge base for yourselves as PropertyMe subscribers. Just thought I'd touch on that as well. So new features in PropertyMe. So we're going to take you through just the most recent features. We have launched quite a bit, but I've thought it's probably more relevant to tell you what we've done in the last month or two. Jameson will take you through the first one.
Hello, everyone. So a real simple one to kick off with email documents now, and a lot of people, if you've been in the system and been into the document section, you may have noticed, but you can now send to any PropertyMe contact or to any external or third-party person the documents directly from the documents tab. So the important thing to note here is that at this current stage, there is a 15 megabyte limit. So if you did have a document that was larger, you would have to, download and then send that separately. But for the majority of documents, you should be able to just click into any contact, into documents, select, and then send to who you need.
Just let that little GIF play out. I think we're a little bit proud of our GIFs. So you'll notice that we've tried to make it so that we're not jumping in and out of the system too much to show you, but essentially, you can select the documents that you want to send, as Jameson said, and now you can attach that to an email and send to the relevant content.
Okay, thank you.
The next section that we wanted to talk about is access details. So now we've got a little place in PropertyMe under the property card where you can house your access details. So these are things like your alarm codes, if there's anything in particular with, where the property might be, that there's 2 buildings and you might need to access the apartment, for example, through the rear building, elevator B, for instance. This is stage 1 of access details. So this is just really us giving you a place to house it. For security reasons as well, we don't have those access details showing on the page. It'll have a little view. So as mentioned, you can add in here alarm codes, gate codes, etc. As you can see, when you click on it, it says view, and then once you click on that little button, it'll show you what exactly has been inputted. You can edit that text if you need to update that text, but for privacy reasons, we've just left it as view. The next stage will be implementing that into the app. Okay, so at this stage, we're just making sure that it's all testing and working and it's got a house. It's housed somewhere in the system, and then we'll be working on further integration into having that available in the app so that when you're doing an inspection, you can now click on that information readily available. You can also now access this information through your log. So when you click on the activity log for the property, it'll also bring up the app who's viewed the access details as well, okay, for security reasons again. A new tasks report. So we will touch on tasks as we go along in this session. What we wanted to sort of do is give everybody the visibility of where they can access what tasks they currently have, particularly if you are a big user of tasks. Sometimes you've got 200, 300, 400 tasks. So it's a great way to manage what tasks are due, what's due later, etc. So tasks obviously under your reports tab, standard, and it's all alphabetized. So tasks is situated there. And as I mentioned, this report can now be viewed by status as well. So all the reports in PropertyMe are customizable. If you click on the 3 dots, it'll obviously allow you to pick and choose the fields that you want to look at. We've currently sorted this by status so that you can see what's available in terms of due and what might be due later, so you know which tasks you might want to focus on first. And a new one that I'm really loving at the moment is our owner app. So our owner app, I might just jump in and show you what this looks like. Can you let me know if you can hear this? Jameson might be the best. Can you? Awesome. So I'm not sure if anyone's aware or if they're currently using the app. Let me just jump back into here. So the owner app came out August. I'm going to say August. I feel like that's a bit of a safer time frame. We designed the owner app similar to the tenant app. Obviously, with the owner app now, you can, as the video showed, you can view all the expenses, income versus expenses, break down the expenses, so all of your financial activity as a landlord. Also, the landlord can access more than just the property that they have with your agency. So or it might be that they've got a few different states that they're in. Now, anything logged with their one PropertyMe email address, they can have in their PropertyMe owner app. The other thing they can do is view any current maintenance jobs that are pending, where the current status of that job is. They can also see when any routine inspections have been scheduled, and they can also access their documents. It's a really great way to try and reduce that inbound call traffic coming through, right? So owners now can have everything at the palm of their hand, and I don't know if it's my generation or if it's just the way that I kind of get sick of after a full day sitting on the computer. The last thing I want to do is be sitting on the computer. So let me sit on my mobile phone instead in the evenings, right? jumping on the app's probably a lot more simpler to use than trying to log into a portal on a Google Chrome or Mozilla or whatever everyone's using these days. And it just looks, if you can say tech looks sexy, it looks a little bit sexier to look at through the app than actually having to log into the portal every time. The biggest, I guess, point of how I would pitch it. So we've got some marketing collateral in our knowledge base for the owner app if you want to include it in your management packs. So when you're going out to visit an owner, you can try and encourage them then and there to download the app. And it's a great tool to use just so that there is something extra that we're giving an owner, you know, especially if you've got the sort of busier owners who need 24/7 access, they don't have time. You know, as most of us as property managers, we also don't have time. It's just a great tool to have. Yeah, it's been very well received. If you are interested and if your owners are using client access, there is already a template that's been created in your message templates in your PropertyMe account. You can now send this off to your owners. Okay. So that's available. And basically what they'll do is they'll have, when they click on the link, there's a little QR code. They can either click on the link to download, or there's a QR code available for them to scan and they can download it. Otherwise, they can just go into their app store, type in PropertyMe owner app. Otherwise, when you send them this, again, as I said, the links will take you through to download. They can have a little read of the website as well if they need a little bit more info, so they can see what the app contains. And the tenants also have a tenant app. So if your tenants aren't using the tenant app, or you're not sure, or you weren't aware that we've got a tenant app, I encourage it. I'm actually a tenant and my agency uses PropertyMe, and the tenant app just saves me so much time. I don't have to contact my agent or send an email. Can do everything through the app now, which is handy. Awesome. So any questions before we go into sort of our trainings topics on any of those features? No, I can't see, Jameson. Can you just see if there's any? Oh no, I can see chat. I lied. It's just hidden itself from me. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll continue so that we can make the most of our time. So today's training topics, we're really just going to run you through the capabilities of our reminders and tasks. And Jameson's going to take you through reminders and I will take you through our tasks. And then just to wrap up, we'll touch a little bit on our roadmap as well. Jameson, I will be the navigator. You just tell me when you're ready.
Ready to go.
Awesome.
So with reminders, it's been called reminders and not compliance management, specifically to promote that there's more that you can manage in this space other than simply smoke alarm compliance or pool compliance, as an example. So with reminders, the important thing to understand that this is a closed loop workflow that links with jobs and bills. The kind of reminders that I've seen a lot of our clients using beyond the smoke alarm or pool compliance are things like appliance warranties, the ongoing annual service of those appliances to ensure that they're kept in order. Could be things like gutter cleaning, any owners that you may pay annual landlord insurance for, but anything that has a recurring frequency and that is of utmost importance to ensure that it's not missed in the future. So the tile that we're viewing here at the moment is showing us where we can actually go to establish and set up the reminder. So you click the property into settings and then reminders. So you will need admin access to be able to access this, but this is where you'll create or add the reminder of your choice. You can link this to a primary or default contact. This can also be changed when you are setting up the reminder on the property. But this one's just showing an example of attaching it to a supplier and setting the recommended default frequency to trigger that reminder. And from in here, you can actually deactivate any existing ones that you feel that you won't want to use into the future. So to attach a single reminder, we go to the property, and on that property card, not far down below where is now the access details is reminders, and we can simply click add and select from the drop down the appropriate reminder. And then here we're just completing all the specific detail. You have the ability to add a due date, so that's the due date for the reminder and not the due date or expiry date as example. You can attach reminders in bulk. So you can do this from the property page and actions, selecting the properties that you want to apply it and apply here, as you can see.
I just wanted to also add, the other thing you could do is if you've got specific owners who want to use a specific supplier, another great way to manage this would be to also add a label to it, so that when you are filtering specific properties in bulk, it will make it a lot faster to filter that for a reporting perspective. And something that we probably should have done on the dashboard is show you that reminders, unfortunately, at this stage are not housed in the left-hand side column. So when you are looking for reminders, it's on your primary dashboard. You'll see that you've got a bunch of different tiles, and reminders can be found as one of those tiles on the dashboard. Sorry, I just thought I'd add that in.
So there is a reminders report that's available, but as AJ just touched on here, from the dashboard, we click reminders and we can just view the various tabs. You can select all in this case, select actions, and then you can create and send a supplier report. So this is generating a report. And then from here, like any other PropertyMe report, you can manipulate the information as required. So here, this is going to show us how to send a supplier report. If you're wanting to, bulk send or provide a follow-up, and this will trigger the report attached to an email and place it into your outbox. And again, it's the message behavior is going to be determined by the template and template settings. So you can go and clone and alter this message template that's currently standard within your PropertyMe outbox or message templates. So if you have progressed a reminder and obtained a certificate, you can come in here and update the details. So it can be done via this dashboard in the property card. Just remember that that's applying the reminders. But if you ever need to alter them, you need to come back to the reminders dashboard and then manage anything that you have in progress from this screen. But you also can, from within the property, and as we see here, we can also view the details of that reminder. And if we're in the main property card as well, under all, you can view, like you can other tasks and messages within the workflow. So creating a job. So this is, I touched earlier on that it being a closed loop workflow. If we create a job from a reminder, This will place the job into the jobs workflow. Then the reminder and the job are intrinsically linked together, so that in future, if you were to complete the job, it would close the reminder and trigger that based on the frequency set within that reminder. But at this present moment in time, it's important to note that you can't backwards link a existing job to a reminder. So just be mindful of that for them to be linked, you need to be creating it from the reminder itself. If you've completed the task, there's multiple ways that you can, close or complete a reminder. One way is via bills. So in the way that it works at the moment, when we assign a bill, we can select a job, and you can see in the grade box at the bottom there that we can also select reminder. So if you select a job and it's linked, it will complete the reminder. Otherwise, you can just select reminder and close that if for some reason you hadn't created a job and you only had a one-off reminder. But in the box here, it's just showing that this is just closing off this specific reminder without a linked job. Next slide, AJ.
Don't worry, sorry. Didn't know if it was showing anything else. No, okay.
And so this is the two standard email templates to communicate to owners and tenants. As I touched on earlier, you can manage these message templates via message and settings if you have the authority to do so. But there are standard templates there ready to notify owners about and tenants about the compliance item. You can clone and build this out and add to it, obviously, but there is a basic template there ready for you guys to trigger and utilize. So this is just showing the existing template, and I think it's pretty straightforward, being existing clients on how to manage and alter this behavior, but definitely recommend cloning and adding your officer's flair and detail to these templates so that you're communicating message in line with your own officer's standards.
Sorry, great timing, got an aeroplane flying over me, so apologies if it gets a bit noisy. Good old Sydney. So this also enables, if you've got an owner who's managing their own compliance, you can set the reminder up also to remind them that that compliance is due. So this particular template that we've got here actually shows you, notifies the owner. So you can send them from the reminder a notification or an email to say, dear landlord, or dear rental provider, just touching base to let you know that this is now due. Can you please provide us with the updated certificate for our records? Then that way you can still manage the reminder, even though you might not be actually sending out the work order on behalf of the owner. It's a great way for you to prompt them. And then that way the ownership of that is taken off you as the agent. I think in particular, the one thing I know, well, I've been stung on, but I'm sure many people in this session can also back me up, is that the landlord's insurance invoices gotten lost in the mail and gone to some random address that now nobody has received a copy of this invoice. So this is another great tool. If the owner is managing the landlord's insurance themselves, so they don't turn around and say, well, I thought you were managing it, and then all of a sudden a $10,000 issue has arisen and the roof's collapsed, there's no insurance to cover it. or the tenants now decided to do a runner, and now you've got, you know, $10,000 worth of arrears, which I'm sure a lot of us have seen with VCAT and whatnot lately due to the delays. This is a great way also to make sure that that you've set up and minimize the amount of risk that you've put on yourself and the business. So a great tool to also use for that as well. Sorry, Jameson, for crashing your party.
Oh, that's okay. This is just a slide showing the reminder message for tenant, but it's the same.
Same principle.
Same principles, the owner. But that's it. Does anybody have any questions regarding reminders?
We also run, just so you're aware, as part of PropertyMe, a reminders and tasks session every Monday for 30 minutes. So if you did need to recap anything in particular, or you've sort of gotten halfway through and you've now forgotten what needs to be done, you can come and visit Scott at that session and he'll be able to answer any other questions that you have, just in case you do have something that pops up at a later stage. But I think really just making sure that, as Jameson said at the start, use reminders for more than just compliance, right? Use it for, if you've got a property that you manage, you know, let's say 5 apartments in a building and all of them have had dryers installed when they were new, and they've got a 5-year warranty, set up a reminder so that you can check on those dryers. You're then going above and beyond just your general duties as a property manager, and the owners or the rental providers are really grateful when we take that extra step forward and that extra initiative.
AJ, there's just a question in the chat box. How are we alerted when a reminder is due?
So you'll need to go into the reminders dashboard and it'll actually say what's due on that day. So embed it into your process. So it's almost like checking your work orders every week to see what work orders you need to be following up. When you put the reminder in, there is a little due date that you'll need to put in. That's why I said the only thing that we need to work on doing, and it is something we will be working on, is putting it in the sidebar. But otherwise, you'll just need to manage it off your dashboard at present.
But yeah, the dashboard tile will reflect the number of reminders that are actually due. And on the dashboard, you can filter the dashboard via, you know, property manager or team, if you have teams set up, and then it will reflect the number due based on that filtering criteria.
Perfect. Any more questions on reminders just before we dip into tasks? Awesome. I'll get started on tasks. Tasks, in my experience, is almost your things to do list, right? It's a great way to house all of your activity instead of having it on paper. Keep it all in the one system. What we want to do is give you the visibility so that when somebody comes and sits in the chair because you've gone on holidays to Europe for a month, they know exactly where everything is at in your portfolio. The other thing I recommend using tasks for, and I'm sure a lot of us are notorious for this, is leaving emails in our inbox because we need it to remind us what we need to do, right? Try to get away from keeping emails in your inbox and move it into tasks. So if you know you need to follow up an owner on a lease, or if you know that you've got a quote that you need to follow up, or if you're working even in a team and you need someone from your team to follow something up on your behalf and you set teams up correctly in PropertyMe, it's a great way so that you can collaborate with your tasks. It becomes your everydays, right? Your everyday list of things to do. And then from there, you can record everything in the system. So then, as I mentioned, if let's say even you swap portfolios around, so it might be that you decide that you want to take care of another area, or you start to take on more properties, and you're shifting portfolios around. When it moves from one property manager to another, that property manager can have full visibility to see what you've been doing in that property, and tasks is a great way to house that. So creating a task. So you can go into the sidebar or into the property, and then from there, when you click on the property, it'll give you the additional contact. You can select the staff member that will be handling the task, and also you can set your due date as to when that task needs to be completed by. Then from there, you can set yourself a summary title and enter in a description as to what exactly that task is about. So for example, in this case, we've got a lease renewal that is coming up. And in this case, we want to make sure that we're logging basically all the activity that we have with that lease renewal. So from here, you can see that with the fact we've created the task, we can also attach a label. So in this instance, we've gone above and beyond and created a lease renewal label. So then that way we can also use it as a way to filter out certain reports. You've obviously got the new task report, but having also the lease renewal report allows you to quickly refine specific properties that you're looking at managing on your sort of day-to-day, right? And then from here, we've got the workflow. So in your tasks in the left-hand side bar, and also task is on your dashboard, you've got your due. So any tasks that are currently due, defined by the date. We've obviously got your active tasks. So this is as part of the workflow, what's currently in use and non-closed. And then also tasks that are due at a later date. So also that have no due date. So make sure that you do update your due dates. I find that when I do a lot of health checks with clients, that a lot of people tend to miss the due dates in also their jobs. It's important that we set ourselves due dates so we know when we're working towards completing items in our day-to-day. And then obviously our closed tasks. So you can also see in the top right-hand corner, it'll tell us, you know, how many tasks we have due. And then the due later ones or all the active ones will obviously be reflected as part of the workflow. Awesome. So also we can make comments, which will appear in our activities log. When we click on the top right-hand speech bubble, we can then add a comment in, and this will just reflect all of the work that we've done in that task. So for in this instance with the lease renewal, we've been advised by the owner that they want to renew the lease. We've now called the tenant about the lease renewal. This tenant needs to speak to their partner to confirm that they'll be going ahead, and it keeps a log of all of the communication you've had. So instead of going, as I said, back and forth with email and having that email trail, and if you're picking up the phone, and a lot of us will do this, if we pick up the phone and we have a conversation, where are we logging that information? We're normally reiterating it in an email, right? So to avoid having to double handle, we can just now pop that straight in the task, and then we've got essentially our sort of work follow-up to say, you know, this is the work that we have done. We've got something in writing to justify the phone call that we've had. You can put there's no need to really put your dates and times in because it's already stored as part of that comment as well. We can also now filter the screen. So we can see, for example, when we've now added the lease renewal labels, we can just look at tasks with that lease renewal label. So I've seen some offices that have 200, 300, 400 active tasks. If you create a label, it'll allow you to quickly look at specific tasks that you're looking at for that specific label. Going a little bit off topic, but I always tell people, don't hold back on labels. Go crazy. Have 500 if you need to. Labels becomes your best friend when it comes to customizing and filtering. In all of our little sections in the left-hand side column bar, if you're looking for specific properties, one that I particularly mention is strata. If you're managing specific strata buildings, always add that strata label. You can then quickly filter those properties when it comes to sending messages, etc. Sorry, as I mentioned, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I just think labels, something that we underutilize, and it's a really great resource to help you with your reporting. Other filters we have, so you can either filter the task by the property manager or the team. You can also filter it by the task manager, so who you're actually allocating that task to. It doesn't necessarily have to be the property manager in this case. And teams also something that I recommend if you're not using, you can set up depending on the structure of your business. If your portfolio with an assistant or pod-based, Teams allows everybody to be across the one task. So, you know, specifically, as I said, pods is a really good example. If you've got 3 people in a pod and one's doing inspections, one's doing the day-to-day owner and tenant liaison, and one person's managing all the maintenance, for example, it's great so that everyone can be across that task and know where things are at as a pod. Labels we've already run through. You can also filter by the due date range, which is fixed. We can then also do a moving date range. So, you know, if you've got 0 to 3 weeks ahead, you can adjust accordingly to filter out tasks by more of a moving scale. Then we've also got the date you created the task. So it might have been that you created the task last week, you forgot to pop the due date in. You can also search and filter by the date created. And you've again got that fixed date and moving date range as well. You can also attach any documents to tasks. So for example, if there's, an email, if you're using Outlook still, which we hope you're not, we hope you're using PropertyMe for all your communication, but you have the ability to attach any documents. It might be that there's a specific notice or there's a picture of something in particular that the tenant sent through. You can now attach this to the task and that'll house it under the property for you. You can attach that by dragging and dropping, or you can also add the little paperclip, add it through the paperclip in the corner as well. Oh, there we go. I beat it to it. And then to complete the task, so we go in to actually it's already jumped ahead, but it will show you when you go into the task, there's a little button that says completed, and then it'll show up in your history under the property. So this is also really important, whether it's something to do with the property itself. If you do obviously end up changing owners, for example, it'll always stay with that property, that particular task as well. And that's pretty much us with tasks and reminders. Does anybody have any questions on tasks? I'll give it a minute and grab myself some water quickly. I'll just keep going, and then if anything pops up, just let me know. And just something I really wanted to touch lightly on, because we always get asked the famous question of what's coming up next. We are working on quite a few things at the moment. At present, we're looking at the digital signing of your ingoing inspection reports. So no longer needing to print and sign things. That's a really big one. But what I wanted to just touch on is, obviously, with 8 years of cloud development behind us, we have the most feature-rich cloud property management software in the market. So what's next for us? Now, with our roadmap, when we are building in PropertyMe, the biggest things we're looking at solving in our 3 product design pillars is simplicity. So something that's simple to use. We're trying to save time. And what we want to do is make sure it's solving a genuine problem. So we're not just going to build essentially another REST. Our goal is to build something that's going to be more than just a little box to click a button and here it is. We really want to go above and beyond. And in particular, what we're focusing on is creating automation of workflow in 8 key performance areas. So that's on communications, maintenance, inspections, leasing, rent collection and other transactions, bill management, arrears, and end of month. So we at the moment are building a payment solution, which will be coming out shortly. When I say shortly, I can't give you an exact timeline, but we are very close to finishing off a new payment solution. So we're trying to simplify the trust account instead of remove the trust account to make transacting a lot more smoother. So that's a really big product that will be launching in the near future. As I mentioned, the other one is the digital signing of ingoing inspections. And then we'll be building that out in milestones, where we'll then also be able to have the tenants essentially fill out the ingoing report with their comments and pictures electronically. So now we don't need to worry about them printing, filling it out, taking their own photos and sending it all back to us via email. We will be able to house that all in the app. So that's something in the future. And I think the other one was being able to print invoices out with those owners that are still asking for printed statements. That's something that's planned. I wanted to just highlight as well on our community board. So when you click on the question mark in the top right-hand corner of PropertyMe, we now have the feature, it was previously called feature requests. Now it's our feature suggestions. And you can actually see that there is little tags on it that specify whether it's completed, whether it's planned, whether it's not planned, and sort of the status of where the feature requests are at. And with our product team, we do encourage you to vote. Okay. My only advice is instead of logging a brand new feature suggestion, that you actually look at what we currently have from other prospective or current users, should I say, with prospective suggestions that might be similar to yours. You'll see that the product team tend to work from the most voted to the least. So always try to find something existing instead of logging a new request. And what our product team will actually now do is if you do log something else and they find something similar, they'll actually encourage you to vote on the feature that's got more votes, just so that we're, I guess, climbing the ladder of what's important, so that when we're designing the roadmap, we can see what it is that our customers are really looking for. Any questions? Just going to see if I have my little...
Feel free at this point, just unmute yourself and ask questions.
I'm just going to leave
Looks like you've covered it all, AJ.
I know, and I was really rushing that last bit because I thought, oh, going over time, story of my life. I'm always over time.
One of the things I love about PropertyMe is that you're always continually evolved. You can ask the question, but even the help section, I know you've got your train me and accelerate me, but I sometimes just jump on the help. Someone calls me within 15 minutes and it answers my question straight away for me. So I think those functions are great. The tasks are great. I love that. I'm getting older and my memory's not so good anymore. So putting those tasks in there are fantastic. At least we can catch up from there. If anybody else got any questions at all? No, looks like we've covered it all there. I think, AJ, one of the things I'd love to do is continue to do this with you guys on a regular basis. But next time, what we might do is survey all of our team and really drill down into some key areas that they're looking for as well, for some support.
Yeah, absolutely. I've let Michelle know just to give us just a bit of notice when you want to do the next one. Moving forward, unfortunately, my trainer was unavailable today, so I thought Jameson and I would introduce ourselves at least as for the first session. But Scott will be the one that takes you through any sort of bespoke quarterly training that we can do on specific topics. What we'd like to cover off on most of these sessions first is the new feature releases, because what happens is a lot of us don't know what's available. And then we can talk about what's existing to help with the day-to-day. But just note as well, the Train Me program, if you do get stuck and you need something sooner rather than later, instead of waiting for the quarterly or however we set up the O'Brien sessions, that we have existing training readily available for you as well. So, yeah.
Excellent. So just one more time, running around, looking at all the faces. Any further questions at all? No, it's fantastic. So AJ and Jamison, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your time. I love doing these sessions. I don't know much about PropertyMe, but I find more there, which is great. Awesome. Thank you down there for the question. So I appreciate AJ and Jamison, and thanks, guys. Back to work.
No worries. Thanks for your time. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.